There have been outbreaks of violence in Syria despite a four-day ceasefire between the government and the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces. Both sides accuse each other of carrying out attacks in the north of the country. Syrian security forces have sent large reinforcements to maintain security at the al-Hol camp in northeastern Syria. The Syrian government says members of the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces tasked with guarding the camp left without any coordination. It's home to around 24,000 people, most of them women and children who are linked to ISIL fighters. Jazeera has spoken to some of the residents.
My name's Mohammed and I live in the camp. We arrived here in 2018. We came as civilians thinking they'd take us to our families. We fled the war. We've remained locked up for 7 years and suffered greatly with the SDF. Many young men were imprisoned here. Whenever the SDF had problems with Turkish forces or local forces, they'd carry out a raid on us. Whenever they were pressured to hand over their weapons, they'd raid us to say, "We are fighting terrorism and you want to fight us?" But we were just people that they used as a shield.
I am Abu Talal, an Iraqi from the Al-Hol camp. We have been in the camp for 10 years. We entered in 2016. Our situation from the day we entered until today has been very bad. It's not been a livable situation. These organisations have humanitarian written on them, but they are absolutely not humanitarian.
Bernard Smith joins us now from Deir ez-Zor. Firstly, Bernard, there appears to be some scepticism, doesn't there, about the extent to which the ceasefire between the Syrian army and the SDF is actually holding or not. What's the current security situation there like, Bernard?
Well, Niamh, there is some scepticism, but it has to be said that overall the ceasefire does seem to be holding. Yes, there have been some individual incidents. The Syrian army says 11 of its soldiers have been killed and 24 wounded in incidents they blame on the SDF. There's been no particular SDF response to specific incidents, although we know one of those, the main incident that you saw in Zane's report, where seven Syrian army soldiers were killed. Well, the Syrian army says it was an SDF drone. The SDF says the Syrian army mishandled explosives. But overnight, coming into day 2 of this ceasefire, we're not hearing any major reports of any particular violations. Syrian army troops remain around the 2 main cities that the SDF still control, Qamishli and Hasakah, and reinforcements have been seen going in. And we are in this situation, remember, because of this lightning advance of the Syrian army across this part of northeast Syria, reflecting a lightning change in circumstances for the Kurds, for the SDF. They thought they might have had US backing, having worked with the US in its fight against the Islamic State and Iraq and Levant, ISIL, in this region for the past few years. But no, the US has thrown its support behind the government of President Ahmad al-Shara and effectively told the Kurds to fall into line. Well, they've got 2 or 3 more days left to decide if and how they might fall into line.
And Bernard, the other issue we're covering, I'll be back with you in a second, of course, is the US military that's begun transferring ISIL detainees from northeastern Syria to Iraq because they'd previously been held at a facility in Hasakah. Up to 7,000 could be transferred from Syria to Iraqi-controlled facilities. The US says its forces are coordinating the Iraqi government, facilitating the orderly and secure transfer, quote, of detainees to prevent a potential jailbreak. Bernard, who are these people earmarked for transfer? Are they hardened ISIL fighters? Are they ISIL family members? And what does it mean to simply shift these people to Iraq now?
Well, I think the US Central Command says there will be up to 7,000 what they're suspected ISIL fighters will be transferred to Iraq. That transfer process is going on. Many of them in this al-Hol camp in the northeast of Syria, further north from me. There are other camps as well where they're being transferred from. Now, we understand these are fighters. They're not family members. We understand they're being transferred over this period of time, and it's perhaps an indication as well that the US is alert to the possible long-term security implications of leaving those people here in northeastern Syria, and has instead clearly reached an agreement with the Iraqi authorities that allows the US to transfer them onto Iraqi soil where they will be managed. The family members, so far as we know, a lot of women and children really in very, very poor and squalid conditions in Al-Hol. They, as far as we know for the moment, are staying put.
All right, Bernard, understood. Many thanks for that. Bernard Smith in Deir ez-Zor.
Don't miss out, get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.